She said she loves you.
But she can't love me.
But I love you.
Yeah. Look, I know my man's going crazy. I gotta brag on myself, I amaze me. Like I'm back in the 80s.
I won't play window anymore.
What's going on?
Play your role. 1xBet.
On to the next one.
YaLLa Compass 2025 season.
If anyone peeks through, they're both dead. They're both dead in the smoke. Bomb drop, popped up behind it at the edge of...
YaLLa Compass 2024 champions!
YaLLa, let's go! And a warm welcome back to the Compass Qualifier. Let's close down the day by starting up round 3 of our round-robin format for Group A. As things stand right now, 9 Pandas and Complexity lead the charge with their 2-0 records. But maybe Complexity might just be able to push a little bit further than our Russian favourites in this group. And as they take on Metasport in a moment's time, it seems like right now the challenge might be a little bit more manageable, considering what we've seen from them early on today.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, for Complexity, there isn't much to draw in their opening games other than the fact that they were slapping teams about. Now, this is where anytime a team is kind of undefeated or doing really well, you want to see what happens when they get a tough opponent, or at least when they get a competitive game. And I feel as if right now, it could be the time for Complexity.
Well, look, the way that I see things for them is how things played out between the sort of key, jumping off point of Nemega, right? Complexity got a bit of a blowout match over Nemega. Nemega got a blowout match over Metasport. So is that a point of measure when it comes to measuring up how well they're doing against a team like Metasport?
Oh, it's difficult to say, isn't it? Best of ones, map pools. You can use the chain logic for sure, but for Complexity, I think you just got to treat it each game at a time. And that really comes down because they're not often competing in Europe, and when they are, it's normally always at Tier 1 tournaments. Very rarely do we see Complexity play Tier 2 Cups in their European stints. Anytime they travel over to Europe for LAN events, they're normally in their time off or sort of the break in the schedule. They're just not participating in these kind of Cups.
Well, they were at least competing in the showdowns of last year, and actually they did face off against Metasport in one of those showdowns. There is at least a little bit of that history towards them, and maybe for Complexity, a little bit of history that they can draw upon when it comes to facing off this side. Now, look, as you said before, they have been looking very good because of the fact that just the results of how confident they've looked. But when you're thinking about the fact it was Nemega, who obviously didn't have a very good start to the day, and Imperial FE, who we don't really have a lot of faith in, you can at least give them at least a little bit of the fact that, right, those matches were a layup. Is Metasport going to be a layup? Will they get a 13-3 blowout for Complexity like the Mega just did a moment ago?
No, probably not. I think Complexity are going to have to work hard for this game. They have to treat every game as if it's survival for the team's sake. They might look at it saying, oh, 2-0, mate, it's free to get into the LAN. We're going to stomp over the majority of the competition. But if that's the mindset, that's when you start getting upset by these Tier 2 European squads. The tactical aspect of CS is quite high with some of these teams in Tier 2. So Complexity will give a lot of respect to a side like Metasport, who look, they got out-aimed in a lot of duels in that Nemega series. They just need to mentally reset, because it's been a bit of a rough day all in all. They probably should have lost out against Passion UA, and they lost out to Nemega. So you could quite easily look at this and say, right, well, they should be 0-2 down and fighting for survival. That's how they need to treat this game against Complexity and against everyone tomorrow too, to just say, we can't afford another loss.
Yeah, most certainly they can't. I mean, they don't want to go negative on the first day. We talked about the fact that one of the worst places to be in is 0-2. Well, Metasport won't be in 0-2, but they could be in 1-2. So it's almost as bad, and you need to go as flawlessly as the 0-2 teams going into day number 2. So don't want to let them drip too far or slip too far off the curb in this one. And considering how one-sided that match was for Nemega, I wonder if that's going to be the key wake-up call for them to really get their heads in the game. Because look, they are a team that we are talking about in conversations regarding, are they going to get invited to the MRQs? Are they going to be in with a chance to make it to the top 3 of this competition and make it to the Qatar LAN? And for them,
them, like if they let matches like that go down against the Mega, if they let Passion UA dictate as much as they did in that first matchup, then there is a serious chance the Metasport actually might not make it through top 3 at all.
Yeah, it's very true, and I think this is where you need to kind of take your moments. Now, the lucky aspect the Metasport have is that the instaban for Complexity has always been Mirage, so at least you don't look at this best of one saying, oh, we might get Mirage to come through again. Now, I guess you could kind of pick any player here from Complexity off of their opening couple of best of ones, but I'm going to be looking at Grim in this isolated series because, look, he's a very experienced player, he's a key rifler to the core that Complexity, and he's someone that brings a lot of depth in important games. And I think in a matchup like this, where you're 2-0, you look at him to try and suffice the 3-0, to get that extra win, to have it a really good day. And for Plopsky, I mean, look, we were talking about him and Adam B. They're meant to be the two key riflers. We didn't see either of them perform to the best of the abilities. I think Adam B had a bit of a better showing in that last game, but I want to see Plopsky and Adam B. I want to see what more they can bring.
Yeah, look, I mean, there wasn't really much to pull from in that last matchup, and unfortunately not much to pull from in terms of Complexity's 2 head-to-heads as of right now. Yeah. So in terms of tournament performances, you're not lining up anybody in particular. You are just relying on those standardized guys that you look towards traditionally. So you mentioned the fact that Mirage is perma-banned, so we won't be seeing that out this time. Anubis will be our map to play for in our final match here on the main stream. How do we feel about that?
Well, both teams played it in their opening matchup. A really comfortable showing for Complexity. Sixy in mid was certainly a guy to watch out for on the City side, constantly fighting, constantly over-aggressing, allowing himself to just destroy Nemega. And for Metasport, they were down by 8-12. They had to claw it back. They were reliant on a couple of clutches, some late-round brilliance to just get it over the line. So if we're looking at on-the-day performance on Anubis, there's no denying that it's been a much better showing from Complexity.
Indeed, and the only real thing that you've got in terms of negatives potentially is the fact that the other maps that they have on record on Anubis is mostly down in the North American scene. We've talked, of course, about how Complexity are out their comfort zone. They're not used to playing online in Europe, and here they are doing that very thing against the Mega. They did extremely well, but Blue Jays, Chill Guys, Aether, not quite up to that same level of caliber. But look, in terms of how the day has worked up here, you've got that much positivity. Is Metasport's previous map-ups in that regard going to be something of a positive to lean into coming into this map?
Well, what people might not know, because it's a best-of-1 format, is that Metasport pick Anubis quite a lot. I'm looking at their most recent games that they played in the PGL Astana closed qualifier. They picked Anubis against TNL, they picked it against 9 Pandas, they picked it against BetBoom, and they picked it against Nemega, they picked it against Gun 5, they picked it against Ecstatic. It's one of the most picked maps in the pool for them. So they've got a lot of play rate on it, and a lot of officials under their belt in the most recent couple of tournaments.
They will be on the T side, start Dweg. So what do we feel about this one? You think Metasport are going to take this one, or Complexity going to remain undefeated?
I'm going to go Complexity 3-0. I think they're going to have a really good day, number 1.
I think I'm going to join you there. Metasports better step up and prove that that last matchup, the 13-3 loss, is only an outlier. Look at the fast-forward face from Hallzerg. 180 flicks towards Plopsky as Isaac fell first. At least the man will get caught off and traded quickly. That's still a man advantage for Complexity. One of the most ballsy plays you're going to see all day.
Oh, that's mental. And now Sixy is on the front foot, just allowing info. JT is jiggling out here from the canal. Seen one player with the bomb deep in the T stairs, but they still haven't got the inkling on exactly where the mass players are. Sixy seen a little bit more, and there's 2 defenders passively towards A.
Grim's now standing to attention on the A defensive. First man forward, Hampus around the corner, Shadow seen, headshots not taken, damaged under the backline and frontline player of that. Nix is going to get gooshed down, double dinks there from Hampus, will take the casualty. Grim will be able to respond back. The Julie's back in the hands of another CT-sided player, a 3-on-2 with HP dwindling on Hampus and Adam. Hampus for the next 60 gets a double, and Complexity take the pistol.
Yeah, Hallzerg making a mad play to get out there aggressive towards A, try and clear that close right-hand side. Of course, he had a teammate with him to try and hold that left, but he gets 2 with the Julies, and it sets up not only a pistol round victory, Jay, but it makes a bit of a statement, doesn't it? If that's the first intent, if that's the first fight that you're seeing on the server, then that puts a lot of pressure on the Swedes, on Hampus to say, all right, boys, we're in for a fight here. This is going to be a tough game.
I mean, stop me if I'm off pace here, Dwayne, but that to me screams Complexity are confident right now.
Oh,
or at the very
100%.
least, Hallzerg is confident. Like, what world do you ever do that and come away successful? Unbelievable. Metasport upgrades still be available. The Galil out for Adam B, Scouts for Lumi, upgrade pistols across them as well. So
See whether they can try and counter a steal on the Cole side, because that certainly would be a shock to the system. Maybe a counter shock would be a good call. Nyx is going to get forced back initially by the smokes and flashbangs in from main. A site still only defended by the one player. It might still be a B lead.
Yeah, Bulldogs on the off angle to take first contact, and they are not going to clear this jail angle you would expect.
JT finding Hampus elsewhere. Grim swings forward from Plat, jumping shots at the sprays. Plotsky going down. HG's to open the smoke, seeing that scout player. Doesn't matter if he gets away without killing off Grim. 60's going to come in from the backstab and deal with the last. Low HP across that CT board, but all 5 are alive. They shut down Metasport's force blind with particular confidence, can establish their 2 and 3 zeros.
And this is going to feel like a bit of a Nordic derby for Hulzerk in particular, because remember, his last pro team before joining up on Complexity was that Dignitas roster, which is basically all the old names from the NIP squad back in the day. And this is a long-standing call from Complexity, and one that should be quite confident in the majority of officials that they're playing here in the group stage. They should be the strongest team there is in Group A.
They're playing to that strength as of so far. Complexity do use that first pick of JT. Isaac taking 2 deagle shots back. 60 can trade it. And Lumi, the next man up, is also on half HP, so not quite a man advantage. That should remain, especially as Grim finds what he's looking for. Lumi's caught off. Even man stances. Metasport throwing a little bit of threat into the works, but nothing that seems to sustain, especially as Plopsky gets caught off.
Yeah, there is a lot of overfighting for Complexity on this anti-eco, and this is Metasport's chance to make it very expensive because of it.
Unable to do so, though. A lot of kills on the SMGs going their way. Complexity keep 3 players alive as well. 10 grand on 60 before we even really get started in this matchup. You can see how Isaac started. He needs a couple of picks out here and all. Barely caught Hulzerk before he went down. So you're right about the overfighting in terms of Complexity, in terms of how much things might end up getting punished by them. But if they continue to get away confident, in the short term, they can still hold their positions. The AKs are still out for Metasport, though, so this is where the real challenge begins.
Yeah, Hulzerk going aggressively to get on the right-hand side to pre-aim the left. And Lumi against what could be a lot of rugs individuals. You've got Adam B lining up, Plopsky too. That tells you that it's probably going to be a heavy A-lean or even contact play.
HE sent ahead of those Molotov smokes in, and the T side will block real access towards that main corridor. No man advantage taken. Execution seems to be set towards this A bomb site. Props utility lined up, as is Lumi. Counter utilities there from the CT. Forces that smoke. Will try block them, but they're going to have to push forward a bit anyway. A site is the target. Backups on the way. Still with the SMDs lining up. Damage and kills found for Nyx. Unfortunately, unable to get more out of it for 60. Hulzerk's AWP is quick to the scene and does turn it into a 3v3, dropping that bomb and everything. Do you see that man? No, not all the way, not in time. Isaac capitalizes with a kill. Looks back towards Grim there in heaven. JT trying to blind spray past that smoke, looking for a casualty to return. Grim finally catches him with his back turn. Hampus able to trade it, though. It's all JT now, a 1 versus 2. And here come the high fragging captain. Sees the first, takes Hampus, aware of the second now at the fountain. But can he deal with the kills appropriate? The flashbang, try to send him back. Incendiary to the right, force him out to the open, but Lumi lands a straight headshot. And Metasport can take their first.
It's a pretty good setup, though, from the Complexity side. You've got to remember, both of those A players are on MP9s, and they don't exactly have the best weaponry to deal with an aggressive A execute. They do quite well to stall for time. Also trying to delay for as long as possible. Nice angle from Isaac to try and get underneath and peek up against the AWPer at the bricks. And then JT's done everything right in the clutch. You've put the molly down to the pillar. You've tried to wide swing the angle, but you've just lost the insta headshot to Lumi. And Metasport find their first, but Complexity, they'll look at this as a big swing round.
All invested into their guns, limited utility at this moment in time. Adam B about to run right into Hulzerk as their flash support from his teammates. They see the shadow nose right there. Shot connects, perfect from Hulzerk. Nyx better be wary of Lumi on the corner, though. Jumps past it. The shot does not ring out from the T side ball. They can maintain the man disadvantage.
It's good info, and it's Complexity putting pressure on towards A. You have Grim and JT out there on the B bomb site. 60 very defensively in mid. And then that AWP just starting to rotate away. Metasport might try and end A again. I mean, they've got no one outside of mid, no one outside of B. Looks to be a B main push for Complexity to try and work some information. Now, this is all going to be timing because A is going to be taken.
Flash forward for Isaac to make his way in. Smokes down to cover off positions. Complexity will still have them out advantage. Metasport are not going to get given another fight to them. Bomb gets planted. Mollies do not force them forward. Nyx is considering the push anyway. They heard those tags. We have at least one player, maybe two. Isaac starts swinging in. Back to be turned. They're not ready for this position. They're not ready for this push forward. So he gets caught. Nyx is down. Isaac needs to force forward and towards Halzok and takes another head with him. Lumi's AWP can strike on 60. And now Metasport are looking to take full control. JT and Grim have got to run back and save their weapons because there is no way they're winning this. And with the reset in mind, Metasport gain a very, very nice second round. Maybe even more with the exits. Not quite for Hampus. Success regardless.
I'm wondering if Metasport have a little bit of a read on perhaps what the Complexity defaults are going to look like in the mid to late round. A looks quite weak. Yeah, it might have been an opening pick for the AWP to get aggressively, but we've now seen the A targetization 2 rounds in a row, and both times it's been a site collapse. We've not seen the even trades or even man advantage being held from Complexity. And Metasport will have that in the back of their mind, and so will Complexity on how they try and adapt. But that's 2 good rounds from the Swedes, and Hampus will be a bit disappointed that he didn't get more impact in terms of those exits, because the M4 staying in for JT and Grim could still make this round expensive from Complexity.
See what these M4s can do. If anything at all. One of them is set towards that B main position. Jump face. Oh, Grim just beat Lumi to the punch. Plopsky trades him back. That M4 at least stays in Complexity hands, but Halzok's got no Kevlar to back it up.
Yeah, no one does. JT and Halzok are going to try and go aggro together, try and see if they can trade Isaac out here in the canals. There's a walk contact coming through from main. Resmoke goes down, so it will stall Plopsky and co.
60's backstab may get a kill out of this one. One player seen. Second man. Ooh, just barely evaded there. Can that AK do any more damage, though? It might just be stall tactics. I mean, they've done well to divide and isolate these Metasport players. I think this last CT should get picked up soon enough. Hampus is closing in. Might actually find an escape route there, back towards that B bomb side. He's sticking around. Finally, back's turned. Finally sprayed up to 32. Hampus finally closes out the job, so it's all left to this Metasport attack towards A because B is still being compromised. Nick's still able to get good enough to can make it expensive, so you're right about that much there, Dweg. 3 casualties, but 3 apiece on the board. Complexity will look to buy back. Metasports look to recover the economical deficit.
And when I just look at the map pool for Metasport in the last 3 months, it's quite easy to see that Anubis is one of their go-tos. Not only do they pick it quite frequently in best of 3s, but it's the highest played map in the pool. We're looking at 9 wins and 6 losses in the last 3 months compared to that of the 5 wins and just a single loss for Complexity, with a lot of that being in the local scene. The Metasport at 3 apiece will feel that the momentum's starting to shift in their favor now.
Can they keep momentum running in said favor, though? Again, Complexity with a buy up to try and deny such. The M4s are out for everybody. Whatever utility defensives are available for them, they're so limited by comparison to Metasport here. And they've done well at least to keep them at bay for the time being on A, and the smoke towards main will only just start to clear, and the rifles get flashed in by Lumi to allow them to start peeking, see if A can get compromised.
Well, notice the change on the A side anchor. Nyx is behind the pillar. Normally they're more defensive towards the bricks and the heaven angle.
Counter incendiary sent from the CT side. Nyx is forced to face, and he will do a lot of damage but not get the kill. Neither will 60. Halzok can trade back Adam on the forward face, and Isaac is still also low HP. Halzok with a double, but Plopsky will trade him with the AK burst. 3-on-2 established by Metasport. Grim will start leaning forward. Lumi's all misses, though. Another chance that may have been given up there by the Metasport players. The M4 start moving. They know there's a player on the bomb site, but can they deal with him? They have to extend out towards T-side contact before they can find the man. JT tempting fate ever so closer. Lumi gets Grim. JT trades back 1. AWP shot baited. Second transfer. USP needs to get pulled out, though. He's out of ammo. And that just simply will not be enough firepower. And nowhere near enough accuracy either. Advantage Metasport now on the board.
And we're just starting to see Nyx and A consistently being an issue. And I don't know how you change that, to be honest. Normally, an anchor would say that Anubis A is probably the hardest bomb site to hold. There's not that many positions to play, and it's a lot of times just a straight-up duel where you've got to go 1-for-1 and you've got to stall. So what's the change-up? I mean, he's been trying to maneuver from sort of orange on the wall, at the back of bricks, out there in the pillar, and he's just not getting impact. He's not getting that one kill that's required. So what ends up happening is he's just consistently getting overwhelmed and the bomb site's being cracked open pretty much for free. So I would say if your A anchor is struggling, we need to put more pressure on B main to work a pick or to work a little bit more information in mid. It has to be elsewhere on the map where they can give themselves a little bit of workability.
Metasport should start to pull away from the complexity scoreline. SMGs are all that they have available towards this B bomb sites. 3 players are overall set on defense here, and 2 towards A, trying to see if they can take some main access, although that does leave mid completely opened up. They haven't got the range game to deal with these players in the positions that they hold at the moment, so just hoping they catch the right players off at the right times, and so far nothing is presenting.
3 on B, but more A maneuvers to come in from Metasport. Isaac put some pressure on there towards Electric with both the smoke and the molly. Nyx slightly more aggressive into A main, and they're going to go back and forth with the util. The resmoke will slow down the map control that could be stolen from Adam B at least.
Nyx will be waiting here. Is there a kill in him? Is there amends to be made? He'll fall back. Mid starting to get established here by the SMG of 6E. Utility sent. Flashes and HE sent right towards that direction as well. Sue to line up. Nixie does get 1 kill out of it. That's about as far as it goes. And from here, it's best to hold on to the Kevlar for Grim and JT. Lost bonus should be coming in to allow the bomb, allow the buy up rather to come forward from complexity all the same. Metasport take 5 on the trot now, looking good when they look to get going.
Well, what should be noted, basically straight away, Jay, is the highest rated player for complexity on the last 3 months on Anubis is Grim, and he's your B player. I can't even remember the last time he was involved in a duel. Yeah, it might say that he's 6 kills and 3 deaths, but they're all exits. They keep hitting the A-bomb site. So how's Grim meant to try and find that impact? How is he meant to be involved and show the capabilities that he could offer? Metasport getting closed in towards A main. The CT's looking for some exit frags. Grim gets away with 1, but it's only going to be 1. And Metasport 5 and 3 in complexity. This next gun round, I want to say, is survival. If they're not able to adapt here and they allow Metasport to go up, well, 6-3, then it's another anti-eco 7-3. I think that's kind of getting towards a finishing blow. This is a tier 1 squad that needs to show some threat. And as of right now, I'm just not seeing this threat in the first half.
Have to concur on that much at least. Looking at those T-side win percentages and the CT half, especially from Metasport stats, have not exactly been within the green. Wondering if there's a bit more to speak for in terms of the second half, but a 9-3 deficit would still be difficult to return from regardless of those stats. Flags that you do need to give something, even if it's just a 4th or a 5th round in the half. Olzok boosted to try and look out towards B. Good idea as to where to look for Plopsky, but not able to connect the shot itself, so no kill, no advantage.
And we're not seeing much B pressure at all from Metasport. They pretty much smoke Canal and lean towards A every single time. And finally, we're getting 2 on A with a 3rd player that could be a quick rotator in from camera.
Flash from 6C. And Nyx might push forward. Molotov burning the man of Adam B. He wasn't quite aware of his demise.
Advantage taken, AWP reposition. Holzer gets caught off by Plopsky, however, another missed AWP shot. And now they look to storm in, split in towards the Zay bomb site. 2 defenders, 2 more rotators on the way, but now 60 leaving Nyx all alone, isolated and surrounded. It's Lumi with that pickup. 2 players remaining for Complexity. It's JT and Grim again to try and recover the situation, or more likely save their weapons.
I'm being funny. I think they need 3 players on A. It's starting to actually become ridiculous. We have just seen A hit 6 rounds in a row. And Complexity, even with getting the opening kill towards A main, they still can't hold A. So, of course, Hampus is just going to keep running the exact same execute because it's working every time.
They found a weakness and they're going to keep picking at it until Complexity break.
And you can see the slight variations too. You can't just run A exec after A exec. You need to be able to show different levels of pressure and the timings of it. That time around, it was sort of Adam B was aggressive into main, but not with everybody else. And then you've got your contact in from mid, so then it's an A split. There's 2 in from camera, 2 in from main. You've got to have enough of a change up that you still keep Complexity on their toes of, okay, is it going to be an A fake? Is it eventually a lean back to B? You've got to keep them guessing. And right now, Complexity look a little bit lost on their CT side. They've not been able to find the reads in these rounds.
Hopefully after so many failures in a row, they can start to pick up what's going on. As soon as I say that, Plopsky just swings up JT, caught running out in mid. Straight shot, direct to the head. Hit between the eyes, and the kill's found in an instant with no chance to respond from Complexity. They will try and take some map presence away, particularly here at Canals and A main, although 60 just got caught. Holzerk finds Isaac, tanks a ton of damage for it, and Nyx will get another kill elsewhere. 3v3, Adam B's now been seen. Holzerk, however, still less than 20 points of health to get out of this position. I think they know that they can just spam him down here. Adam's starting to walk towards A site in the meantime.
They're just so stuck. Holzert knows he needs to keep fighting. He needs to keep intensity up. And Plopsky just misses that timing to catch him. The bomb carrier might get dropped. No, the Julies are out. And the A-side path is already being taken. Now, Grim is incredibly passive. Does this get pre-aimed from Adam B?
I think he's at least got the inkling of that might be a possibility. He's going to check heaven. M4 spray is awkward. And that leaves Nyx, the man who recovered that man advantage to a 3v3, to run back in a 1v3 and save his gun, because I think he recognises that there's no chance. 7 on the board of Metasport. They have the half.
Indeed they do. And who could have assumed it was another A-take? Complexity are getting in their own heads a little bit now. And if we're going to go on this parallel, right, if we're going to talk about the story of Passion UA and what happened, losing Fear, losing Jambo, can we not say the exact same thing for Complexity, losing Elige and dropping Floppy? Losing Elige is just the crutch of this team. It's the best player by far, one of the best riflers that you'll see in North America. And while you try and replace 2 players with local North American talent, it is not the same team. It might be the same core, but we're seeing them at Tier 1 getting owned, getting destroyed. And the good reason for it is that it's a rebuild with a much smaller capacity of impact than what the previous lineup could do.
Well, at least as far as I understand things, it wasn't quite so much of the case that, that they were snatched away from Complexity, at least.
What, Elige didn't get snapped up by FaZe?
Well, as I understood it, from what I'm just understanding from just
Right.
watching podcasts and reading interviews, that apparently it was more of a mutual thing just to let him go, which, you know,
Well, no, come on, there's
makes
no way.
no
It's
sense
like,
to
oh,
me.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
maybe I'm reading a little bit too deep between the
definitely.
lines.
There's
there.
no way there's like a mutual parting of, all right, see you later, mate. Yeah, we'll just get someone else in. Like, there's definitely, it's Elige, bro, and no, definitely not. It's one of those circumstances, though, where at least you've maintained a core. I think they haven't picked apart the lineup massively, that you can still rely on that. But there's no denying that the last few years have been quite tough for Complexity. The only real breakout tournament they had was, IM Sydney when CS2 first came out. I think other than that, when they made the stage there, they've been searching for a lot more. And I don't know, can you be satisfied being the best team in North America but not really doing anything on the international scale? I could say the same thing for FlyQuest. Qualify to all the events, keep getting to Tier 1, but when you get there, don't really do much. Might get the odd win, but you're never really a threat. It's a tough one. It is a very tough situation to weigh up when you're an out-of-region team that don't compete in Europe all the time.
And at least in the past, you can say with their tier 1 appearances, it's like I said earlier today, so listen, you're losing to VP and Eternal Fire and Team Liquid and what have you. Those are all like very good, high caliber, tier 1 definitive teams. We're losing a few matches and not qualifying for Compass here in the qualifier might be a little bit too much to forgive.
I'd agree. Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, look, it's tough even in the local scene, right? Even your top I suppose buddies aren't even full American lineups, are they? Liquid's not even full American anymore. M80's brought in Sin and Slack. So Wildcard, look at them. They've got Susp over there. They've got Fuzi. And it's like, well, all of the #1 teams in North America aren't even North American. They're cores, but they're mainly European, or at least with European imports.
This one is a pure blood.
And I respect that. I really do.
Yeah. How long can you stay pure until results are required, though?
That's, yeah.
Same thing with a team like Endpoint. You know, UK's greatest squad. Eventually had to move different ways. Same thing for ITB, rest in peace, back in the day.
Sure. It's a tough call. You never really know the answer until it's too late, I think.
More pertinently to the point here, obviously, the replacement elements of Elige and Floppy, like you say, are Sixy and Nyx, and you have to wonder how much pressure is on their shoulders at the moment.
Oh, bloody hell. There'd be a lot. I mean, take Nyx as an example, right? You're an anchor player that's playing against tier 1 caliber opposition, and you've played on Limitless, Take Flight, and Lag. You've just been playing, what, like ECL in America. You've been playing the odd local LAN event, and then you're flying over to Katowice. You're going over to Cluj. You're trying to qualify here to the Compass LAN. You're going to Bucharest for PGL. It's a huge change. It's a massive step up.
From the States to Europe, to the Middle East, perhaps, if Complexity get their way. Oh, no way they get any way out of this round. We seem to have had a technical stop call, so we'll see what happens and what we can do to fix it up. But I guess there's a bit more time to talk about circumstances here, because you are right. Like, it's so jarring when you've got those circumstances for players like this. Different ball game, as they say.
Well, maybe an opportunity to talk a little bit about Group B. I know on the main channel we've been covering Group A, but our secondary stream's been doing B. One team that's been on the radar a little bit is this Partisan roster. Now, if you follow Tier 2 and Tier 3, you'd have heard a lot of these boys. Been around the scene for quite some time, especially Collins, Emmy, Vladen. I mean, you and IJ, we were praising a lot of Vladen when he was playing out on Bleed and doing incredibly well in some of the anchor roles. They've been on real hot form as of late. They've been beating some really good teams. They're getting a pretty good VRS ranking. They're 2-0 here in Group B. I'm really surprised to see Ents getting smashed out by BetBoom. I'm surprised to see that Nexus were able to beat Eklot. So I think that will be an impressive group to keep an eye on for, especially going into tomorrow, to see exactly who the top 3 is over there.
Probably not the result that ends wanting, but at least they're doing some smashing about, because unfortunately for Partisan, their first 2 opponents were GTZ and Nexus, which is like, okay, those are pretty simple. Ents, however, 7-1 at the moment on the B stream.
Yeah, so they've got to try and press the stronger teams tomorrow for a win.
So it's an upward battle, an uphill battle from Partisan to make it into Compass LAN. It certainly would be one of the more unlikely outcomes of the qualifier.
Well, it'd be nice to see a Serbian team towards the top end of Tier 2, because I think the last decent name that we saw in the local scene, if we're not counting the Zero Tenacity side with the local teams, is probably iNation. I think outside of them, I can't really recall the last one that used to compete at a top-end level in Tier 2.
I'm trying to think. I feel like there was one in the interim, and... Well,
I know you had, like, the Valiance roster that was core when it's sort of that... back in the day, like, before Crazy, the Nexa and Hunter one. But that's years ago now.
Was that before or after iNation, though? Like...
Oh, well, the iNation one was only quite recent, wasn't it? I think it was the Blast RMR they got to. That was the one with Depression Kindo, I think Dragon was on there. Vladin, I'm pretty
Oh
sure was
yeah,
on the team.
sorry. I remember there was a stint where they did make a resurface. Because when I think iNation, I think
the
like
old
2015. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
like
No, I'm talking
an-
about the recent one.
you know, an old man in that respect. Back in my day, iNation were a small team. They still are actually. So. I'm being told that this tech issue, whatever it is going to take a little bit of time before we get sorted. So we've been asked to head towards a small break, and hopefully when we return, we can jump right back into the thick of it. Metasport are 4 ahead of Complexity, and the North Americans will need to put their heads in gear and bring things back from the brink when we return. Thank you for your patience. Let's jump back into it between Metasport and Complexity. If you're just joining us, 7-3 is the score. Metasport brought back from the pistol and conversion start the Complexity of game and now hunt the last 2 rounds in this half. Can they claim the 9-3 score? Let's find out with a rifle round.
Well, the easiest way to recap what we've just seen, Jay, is a 3-round lead for Complexity, followed by 7 in a row for Metasport. This has been a one-sided first half, and Metasport bringing a lot of pace for Adam B into A main.
HG's right on Isaac. Halls going to pick up the kill against Adam first and foremost. So tank down, dealt with. Isaac does find the return, though. Another missed shot from the AWP. Multiple of those out from Halsberg over the course of this match. Started so well with a stellar opening pistol, but the big green has not been as impactful for Complexity. Now Metasport to try and exploit gaps in their defensive as Grim gets caught. Hampus doubles up, and the B site this time has fallen. It's funny, they hit A time after time, recognizing the weaknesses, and then they go B, and it's much of the same.
And just a clean double entry coming through from Hampus. I saw a little bit of that in the series against Passion UA, especially in overtime. I remember some of the B hits that Hampus was hitting. And Plopsky just maintaining outside of B towards that top mid area. It's another save call. This has got to be so frustrating for Complexity because there's just been so many rounds where they can't even attempt the retake. They're just so far away from the bomb side. There's nothing in their favor. And yeah, you could be saving going into round 12 and thinking, well, how many more chances are we going to get? This could be a completely flawless 9-round winning streak from Metasport to end the half.
I'm hedging my bets that actually is going to end up that way. We've got an AK upgrade for 60. At least they have a rifle in spare. But we need so much more right now from the Complexity side. Again, as I said before, I'm holding out some hope there's something on the T side, but 9-3 is still a very difficult comeback.
It's funny, you see those tweets from time to time, and it's just the KDs, right, of all the players, and it's guess who won the map. You could say that right here, because the numbers aren't bad for Complexity. It's not as if they're getting farmed from the KD differential.
Isaac quick burst through to get some kills to start alongside Lumi. Early couple of frags of Complexity are unable to answer back to in the slightest. Metasport making light work of these last 2 rounds of their T side and Complexity. They better be hoping that their T half is just as, if not more, stellar if they want to try and take this map away from Metasport. They're going to need to be the case.
Yeah, 60 out from mid has got Hampus on that right-hand side, just jiggling one another for info. 60's trying to get a little bit more aggressive. It's all about that timing when Hampus swings. 60 hasn't spotted the bomb carrier, but now Adam P has got another entry in towards A. And while pressure's building towards A, it does look like it's going to be a B split for Metasport.
And they can do that because they can. Loopy just caught Grim. 60 now all alone. 1 on 5 for him to clutch out here. And we've seen a 1v4 so far today, but this is just too far. No chance of a retake. 9-3 at the turn. Metasports have made mincemeat out of Complexity, and I genuinely didn't think that they were going to be the ones getting a blowout here.
And you can see on the cameras that Graham Pitt, Messioso standing behind Complexity, just being in the coach slot, right? Just being there to keep the boys passionate, keep them happy, whatever. But you do think in moments like this, the lack of a coach is probably a huge difference in how to adapt to just be a secondary voice towards JT. And it makes me wonder, how long are we going to be waiting for? Like, even if Complexity do qualify to the Compass LAN, are they going to have a coach in time for LAN? I mean, I'm waiting for it. It's been over a month now.
Might need that. Give yourself a chance to return Complexity. Running right in towards the B bombs. I didn't check this corner of Plopsky. The pistols are live and ready in round 13. 60 and Grim can overwhelm those B defenders. And finally something starts going right for Cole. A little bit of positivity in their T side. Maybe the one thing they needed the most right here. CT side a bust, but the T half of this map proving positive on stats. So maybe those stats might show something more right here and now.
You a fan of the old school logo coming back, Joe?
Oh, yeah, I am.
Oh, yeah.
I always hated rebrandings, and I understand that the Complexity logo, the old one, was literally made in MS Paint in 2003, and it took 10 seconds of effort from somebody, but equally, it's the meaning behind it that matters to me.
Bit of nostalgia.
Yeah. Hopefully a bit of a return to form in the near future for Complexity. Certainly the return to form here and now in this best of one. Pistol's been gained. Got the conversions as well on that CT side, so maybe it's in round 16 or 17 we might start to see some concerns pop up for the Complexity camp. Right now, they should be able to make light work of the ecos, although I say that, Metasport have brought down.
And Plopsky up against what looks to be a pretty quick execution into B. Not many players on the B bomb side.
Mac 10 straight in, MP9 to meet him. Flashbang's perfectly placed from JT to Plopsky's overwhelmed quick. And the bomb will go down. The round is over. Metasport know it. They're already saving.
Yeah, hold on to what you've got. Bring it forward into the next round. And Complexity, they just need to continue the round streak for as long as possible because they want to try and make the CT economy as uncomfortable once we start getting into those gun rounds because that's only going to help the T side continue round winning. JT and the boys just maintaining any sort of a late exit prounce that there could be to try and get on for a last-minute second retake. But then it's going to be 5, and Metasport will treat this as basically back-to-back force buys, where they won't invest again, but they've still got 4 players worth of utility and weaponry, and even a little bit of utility could be upgraded come that next round.
Terrorists win.
And quick and easy for Complexity to maintain their early starts in the half. Can they close the gap all the way? 4 more to make up the difference.
Well, I think it's funny when Jay mentioned how Adam B was a bit of an OG to this Metasport organization. I look at that very first iteration of the roster. H&S, mate, he sells peripherals now. Giacchino, he's open for Copenhagen Wolves. Nilo is in contract hell out there with Heroic. And who else is there? Rusty. Haven't seen him for a very long time on it. I don't think he's played professionally since being on Metasport.
When you say he sells peripherals,
He
like
sells peripherals. He actually sells peripherals.
So,
H&S.
Does he actually you know, like a salesman,
No,
or does
no.
he like sit behind a counter and just?
I'm not sure. I don't have the answer, but I know that he sells peripherals.
Oddly vague coming from you, but okay, fair enough.
Let me get the Twitter page up. Have a little look.
Live research here. We wait for
Well,
this.
I had a little interaction with H&S the other day because that Gamer X clip came up again. It always does the recycling every few years.
Oh yeah, that one. Okay.
The one that's about 8 years ago that always somehow is on my feed. Yeah, it just says, retired CS Pro, now I'm just into esports and gaming peripherals. And he says, I am cooking the peripheral scene, see you soon.
He's cooking the peripherals.
He's
So
cooking.
he's not actually selling.
I
it.
believe he's selling peripherals for a company. I believe so.
I think we need to go ahead and get him on the line and figure out
Honestly,
exactly what's going on.
We need to get him in, find out exactly what's happening.
And hopefully we can get a response later on today because we're going to go back into the action. Metasport are going to take this seriously now. We've got rifles, AWPs, M4s. Versus the Galils and the AKs that Cole have pretty easily gained. 3 of those AKs in play for the T-side line. 3 rounds to make up as well. A rifle win here and now may change how this match is shaping up. Likes to be on the back foot for an overwhelming majority of time. It was 9 rounds in a row in that first half, as you mentioned a moment ago, Dweg. Complexity gaining 3 on their Trop. The pistol conversion is exactly what they gained on their CT side as well. Will that streak come to an end now?
And making it really easy with the double mollies on both house and doors and the HE of the smoke to just drive the CTs further defensively. Now, once this smoking camera clears, it could be a double swing from both Temple and Hampus to work together to put a bit more pressure towards mid. It gets very silent from Complexity. And no lurker deep in B main. It's more passive sightline being held. Metasport have not, at the moment, made an info play, but you expect soon enough that they'll be a bit active.
prodding behind these smokes, hoping for a good lucky kill or two, and a mid-control being established by Complexity. Pretty much undefended by Metasport here, although Adam B starting to turn attention towards it as the campus lean up, head seen, burst from both sides, unable to get any of the kills out of it. Holzerk picks up Adam B. Hampus cowering behind the central site pillar, and Holzerk can find him soon enough. If not, his teammate coming in from main would have gotten that kill. Complexity. Well, there was more legs to this T side than may have been initially predicted. Metasport are backing off to save their weapons already. Beaten into submission so quickly. Complexity may well be back in the match.
It's really good utility usage into camera from Complexity. You see the flash assist, making it very awkward for Metasport. You're trying to play back passively, you're trying to get behind the pillar, you're trying to get back behind Cake, but with just the pace being accelerated from players coming into camera, with players maneuvering out of A main, it's very tough to try and turn away from those flashes and keep engaging into fights. And Grim just trying to see if he can put a bit more exit damage down. Isaac seen out on B. And 60 will get Lumi. So all in all, this is an impressive round for Complexity.
Overwhelming in Metasport, and they might take Isaac down as well. Yep, all 5 lost. 4 on the trot for Complexity now. Metasport about to lose their lead in a couple rounds' time, and with this one being an eco buy, they'll at least be within one of them. Tactical timeouts called in by Metasport. Bit of a rarity over the course of the day. Abdi's taken a moment to discuss things with his team, because they may be losing their grip on this match. They do not want to let that happen. They do not want to go down negative going into day 2.
Yeah, remember both Adam B and Abdi being with the Young Ninjas organization when they were at the Heroes of Lufthanland. And that's a long-standing duo that has translated from previous organizations to moving out here onto Metasport and trying to run the flag of being a top local team. I think in previous years, we've seen it be fairly competitive towards the top end of Tier 2 between one another, with Alliance and Eyeballers, teams like Metasport. And now we're just starting to see a little bit more separation between those squads. Johnny Speeds were a team last year, especially in the player break last year. They really tried to capitalize and push on for as long as they are. Now their own organization led by Draken.
6C is struck first. Metasport. Down a man, Hampus. Oh, okay. Well placed with the headshot, mate. 60 gave away his position. That was stunningly accurate. Lumi's taking a lot of damage, however, towards this B defensive. Teammates are on their way in from mid, but he's about to get swamped by all of Complexity right here. A little bit late to the mark. Another headshot would have been nice, but not to be.
Yeah, there could still be some decent exit damage being done. Watch out to see how much more gets gained.
Popsky with a frag. Nick shuts it back down all the same. Still low HP, so you're right about that damage. You're right about that third potential casualty against Complexity. Right now, 3v2 that favors the Complexity side. Metasport. Find Nick soon enough. Smoke's about to clear. No, he just spotted Hampus as it faded. Kill found. Adam B. AK recovered. Just save it. Just run with it into the next round. Complexity. And now almost all the way back. 8 on the board. From a 9-3 half, Metasport have gone scoreless on the CT side. And Complexity have looked like they rule the roost in the second half.
Well, this could be the change of pace round for the City side. Perhaps a canal crunch. Maybe something aggro and fast towards B main. Haven't seen a lot of acceleration from the Swedes. They've been quite happy to run the clock, sit back, make info plays in mid to late round. Wonder when pressure starts building, whether that's just the change-up of flying something, being in the front face and make it a bit uncomfortable for the opposition.
Orps in for Lumi. M4s for 3 and AK saved by Adam B. High roller cash mount as well for Metasport. Might a hero weapon if they lose this next round, and Complexity have been playing what they want to try and take this on a straight up streak. 5 in a row, looking for number 6, looking for 9 apiece. It's slow to the uptake here for them. May we'll see Hallzerk in for that opening frag with utility in the hands of the opponent standing on his own electric. Peek in, shot down, lightning fast. Plopsky's dead, as is Isaac as well.
And B-site completely cracked open. This should be another instant save. And you could just feel that Metasport were basically looking at that half saying, boys, we've done enough. We're going to get this game over and done with. And now we're in a tied up scoreline where it's looking like Complexity are going to take the lead. This has been a drastically poor second half from Metasport. And Complexity have just pounced on it.
B-site hits have been flawless. Seems like Complexity have found another weakness. It's combined with weaknesses across the other side of the Metasport board. Six in a row. We are dead set even. Lumi will at least look for Exodus on the AWP. Nix is caught. Grim. Oh, actually gets away with a drive-by dink down or boost down onto Lumi. Adam B is lost. Hampers tried to make it expensive against Complexity. They got like $10,000 above though, so it really doesn't matter in damage right now. Needed a round-winded Metasport because Complexity are all evened up from 9-3 to 9 apiece.
Yeah, things are getting tough, and for Metasport, they've got the AWP out fairly consistently for Lumi in the second half. We've seen quite a few gun rounds that he's been allowed to invest into the AWP, but we haven't seen impact out of it. He's been very quiet. And this might be the moment to try and change it up. Now, that's the Canals Crunch smoke, and they are going to try and press it with the AWP coming out of dark.
Oh, JT identifies Lumi with a shot that just cleared up enough of the smoke. Kill found a start. Isaac backed up behind the central pillar of the B bomb site. There's smokes in the way of main. HE to open, sees his man, but 6C still gets away with a kill and doubles up on Hampers in the back as well, or the front I should say. Plopsky takes trade, needs to double up, and he does do so, but JT maintains control of the man advantage, taking the B bomb site once again. 1v3, Adam B, no chance in hell. I think he recognizes that. Complexity, this is their 7th round in a row to take the lead away from Metasport.
Well, that's, you could say, very unlucky that the AWP just gets completely spammed. You've got a bit more of an aggressive setup. It seems like he's trying to play anti-flash. They might try and break the smoke. There's obviously some setup that Metasport are trying to do, and instead JT is just spamming that AK, and it's a full connection to the headshot. This has been back-to-back gun rounds in which Isaac has got nothing, and I rate Isaac really highly. I think he's a really strong anchor player. He's one of the most experienced players that you've got on this Metasport side, but he's getting overwhelmed on B. Even that round, there's 3 on B there. You lose the AWP, okay, you're down by 1, but Hampus is on B, Isaac is on B, Plopsky's there as well, and you can't quite get the crossfire. You can't quite hold the site. Wow, what a second half this has been.
Second tactical timeout called in by Metasport. What a time to do so as well. And look at 6C. He's like having the time of his life right now. No need to sweat for Complexity. Down 3-9. No worries. We bring it back. Just look at how that round history has played out.
It's very abnormal. I know that we can look at Anubis, right? And there's a lot of statistics we could throw in there of round win percentage in the last 3 months being 62.7 for the side of Complexity and 61.2 for the side of Metasport. But we know Anubis shouldn't be like this, and it isn't like this in Tier 2 online. Yeah, there's favoritism. We see a lot of 7-5s, 8-4s. But round streaks like that?
Yeah.
Come on, that doesn't happen.
Metasport may have been the beneficiaries of a round streak, but now they're the victims of one themselves. Complexity. 7 back-to-back. Hallzerk does get caught by Lumi's Deagle as they try and force their way in. Nix is going to get caught by Adam B the same. Incendiary start pulling out. JT is hoping to force forward and potentially look for another kill. This will be another individual fight, though. Counter smokes to try and block him. Not tonight, I'm getting a hold of the AWP. Blind sprays will come close, but no cigar. Back up for the bomb. Commit towards B. The rotations in Metasport are going to leave that site completely abandoned. And Complexity may look to take that part as a result.
JT just needed to clear out first stage of A main just in case there was more pressure and that could have come against them and made the bomb even more uncomfortable. Util out on B, setting them down. CTs can be on rotation. Now they can double drop from mid-bridge and get themselves into the canal, or they can silently try and get out to B main.
Oh, 16 missed with spray. Isaac going to pick up the kill and through the smoke find Grim on transition. JT's in a 1v4 and Hampus turns up the Deagle. That ends the streak of complexity. Metasport find their start in the second half and go 10-all.
Well, you felt that Hulzerks tried to be a powerful player in the early stages of a lot of these T rounds. We saw him previously try and challenge that orb into the canals and work the pick against Plopsky in B. We've now seen it towards A main, trying to get on the front foot, trying to search for that opening fight. This time around, he just gets hit with all the util. The HE comes in, the flash is good, and then there's a little bit of trading back and forth, but Metasport got themselves in a good scenario. And for Isaac, I think a bit of redemption in some of his quiet previous rounds. He steps up big time out on B, gets himself a multi-frag, and not only wins a round, but saves a lot of AKs in the process.
Metasport. Chance to take back the lead over complexity, and they look to gain that as well. JT struck first, but Grim's got to follow up with the 2 trades back in Metasport. We're 3-on-3 with B bomb site gain and backup still in rotation.
And not a lot of space for complexity on this post plant. They do at least have a lot of util, and Sixy's been able to get himself in a good position outside of B main.
Is he being watched? Yes, he is. Sixy. Counting for the backstab, get the headshot quick. Hulzerk now, the smoke clears up towards Temple. We'll get Adam B next up. Lumi required his teammate to establish some presence on the bomb site for the AWP to be effective on the retake, and it just wasn't going to happen. Back away, save it. Complexity, back in control again.
Yeah, every time Lumi's got this AWP, it just feels as if he's in an area of the map that's just not contentious. And maybe that's because Complexity have been grouping so much. Really good site access. I mean, those B anchors are really only going 1-for-1. Plopsky was trying to stall for time with util, but he gets caught after that first fight towards the canal, transitioning back towards main. What do Metasport do in terms of the approach? Because the only round that they've won in this second half has been an eco. They've not managed to do it on a gun round yet.
They might have to do it here if they want to maintain themselves in the matchup. Wild spray to complexity. HE's down against Isaac. Molotov damage is not going to quite spread to that corner. Waiting for extensions of the CT side. Grim playing anti-flash when they do look to force the issue out on towards that B main push, which they have done at least once.
It's getting quite gambly. No one mid, single player towards A. There's 4 on B here for Metasport.
It might be the right call to make here as well. The bomb's still outside of B main. It's not fully committing towards it. They're waiting for someone from Metasport to make a move. They might get their wish, but not in an angle they're prepared for here. Bit of mid-presence being established. Nick's about to see what's going on. Swing forward, C2. Okay, boys, I might be in trouble. Might need some support from JT. Looks down the canal, sees nothing. Drop down, finds Isaac, gets a ton of damage. Nix is forced to respond towards him to 4v4, and that B stack is scattered.
Players are just all over the place. Metasport have consistently over-rotated. Adam B is late to get back on the bomb site.
Molotov sent in, third man's on the way. AK from range, Adam B completely whiffs his spray. Hampus will trade it. Smoke to that main entrance, blocks the AWP. Hampus still known towards Cliff. HE's doubled up, sent towards him. The HE back from Lumi's AWP clears up the smoke to get Grim in a 2 versus 2. Missed shots from Blind Bomb will not be denied, although Nick certainly will be tagged low. 1 point of health. Hulzerk needs to go pretty massive right here. 16 kills on the high HP element of the T side, but he's baited on that AWP and now pinned behind a pillar. Needs a perfect shot. It's not coming his way. Nix unaccounted for though. Gets Lumi. Swung out from Plopsky. Now well aware of what's going on. And Hulzerk tried his hand another chance, but the AWP still unable to get consistent hits. Gives Metasport 11 apiece.
Yeah, Halzo just needed one there. One kill with the AWP, and that's just game done. Get yourself up to 12, force that reset. Great utility usage. Grim, it's an unfortunate timing where he's trying to get aggressive to work on the edge of the smoke, and he gets HG. And Lumi with a great shot, and Plopsky in for the clutch. It shows his class and shows his quality. 11-11, Metasport know that this game is still on.
Yeah, Dragus kick in, screaming into the 24th round and maybe beyond. Complexity, look at Plopsky. Trying to forward face here. AK to meet him on the other side, but Grim couldn't get all of it. So much damage done towards the CT side player. 14 HP remaining on Plopsky. The man advantage is with Metasport. Lumi can extend upon it. JT is caught next. The 5-on-3 A site being leaned into by Nyx. Adam B on the defensive. Got utility coming this direction. He's got a smoke in his hand. Block vision, wait for backup. You're playing a two-man advantage on this retake.
And Nyx is just trying to force as many of those camera players back as possible. They need to take space though. Need to get aggressive. They've got to take storage here.
Nyx pushes the issue. 6C finds Adam B. Cleaned up in the back. Heaven control established and extended upon here. Halzo really want the position. They're going to fight as a unit. Oh, and they all fall apart from Metasport. Halzo lines up. 6C gets two of his own. A triple in the round for him individually. Complexity played the right place at the right time. And Metasport fell apart into match point for the opposition.
And it came after the two experienced players lost their life out of B. I mean, losing Grim and JT, you think, oh, the round might be completely over. It's the right protocol there in a 3v5. You've got to take space. You've put all that util down to camera, so you can't get aggro there. You've planted towards Heaven and Bricks, and you don't have anyone towards A main. So there's only really one area you can go, and that's aggro CT. That's getting into storage and putting pressure down deep Heaven. 3 players on the lineup. Metasport, oh, they'll be kicking themselves because think about it. Plopsky's just won a clutch. You've given yourself a lifeline. You've lost the next follow-up round. And what do you get rewarded with? A crap buy. You've got an AWP out for Lumi, who I can't even remember the last time that he got an AWP pick in an opening to mid-sequence of a round. The only time we've seen the AWP success has been in the late round on the retakes. You've got Adam B on an M4A1S. You've got Plopsky on another one. MP9 for Isaac and a Deagle for Hampus. This is one of the worst-looking buys that you could ask for come round 24.
Complexity, no concerns with their own investments. They got all the rifles, all the AKs. One chance to close, one round required. Metasport at most every single disadvantage. Complexity choose to end A. The smokes are at the ready, the Molotovs are already being thrown out. M4 and an Eagle on site. Also with light support, Hampus. HE sent towards the center contact. It's Adam B that finds the first to 6C, so it's an advantage again for the Metasport side, but Complexity have fought their way out of this corner several times over the course of this matchup. Will they do it again? They might need that mid presence soon, because right now it's 3 players on site and 5 players inbound. Lumi not fully faced upon here. Smoke to clear. Player in heaven. Hampus is Deagle. Strikes well and strikes true. Looking for 2 and that. JT is found. Grim now strikes with only 1 frag to his name. Nyx will not survive forever. And Metasport pushes all the way to overtime.
And in the most unlikeliest of rounds, you've got a lot of success being landed before the bomb even goes down. Great work from Adam B to spam through that heaven smoke, find a good connection, and then just anticipate some slightly overly aggressive maneuvers from stairs out towards bricks. Metasport do well to establish some good crossfires. I mean, even Hampus, that smoke's clearing out in heaven. It's being pre-aimed by an AK just on the other side of Cake. You're expecting Complexity to win that duel and to force that first fight. Instead, it just goes the complete other direction. And Metasport, well, they hold on.
That they do. A near choke lost. A 6-round advantage at the turn of the half. The Complexity brought back to their own stance before finally Metasport starting winning rounds on CT. They won just enough to keep this game going, to keep themselves against Complexity side, who are still defeatless here in this competition. Set the rifles up for overtime. AWP's in for Lumi. Nix close to contact, spots his man. What an adjustment that is.
A shot towards the right-hand side of the AWP. Isaac double flash. Does he clear the right-hand side? No. Grim gets the easy trade back, and now Plomsky is completely alone with no rotators inside.
They're on their way, but they might not get here quick enough. Molly's in Glyph. Electric control established. Nix catches Hampus on rotate back to A. Plopsky takes a chance to strike. Drops that bomb. Drops a second. He picked his moment. Perfect. Oh, he's got a triple out of it. Forcing the TK from Nix, who's on 21 points of health. Looking for Adam B. A 1v1. I think he saw a shadow right there. M4 backs up, AK to swing, seen his man, and Adam B holds the opening round of OT.
I think you can give a lot of effort there to Nix. He's done as much as possible in that round. He's got a great opener towards A. He's then got a secondary kill in the canals. He's got the third kill on the trade back on B, and then has to be set up for the 4K to win it. You would have just hoped that one of those main players trade out Plopsky. There's two coming in from canals, two out from main, and Plopsky just denies that split completely. Adam B to get the finishing blow. Metasport to win the first round of OT.
Advantage Sweden again. Will it last? A lot of mid control established by Complexity right here. Metasport very passive in this defensive. Lumi's AWP is set towards A main, has a backup M4. Right around that corner at camera. 60 is about to be revealed towards the man. He leans up. Check position. Adam's seen. Smoke instantly. Second player at Temple. Right there to receive. Hampus draws out first blood.
Tries to get the HE to force off that secondary player that's trying to get the trade. Nix won that opening kill against Lumi in the same sort of contact towards A main up on the pillar last time. It's re-smoked. It's going to be an A split. 2 from camera, 2 from main.
$40 seconds. Complexity yet to find a trade. Splitting their way into A. Or Lumi connecting its shots. Holzerk and Grim answer back. 3 on 3. Bomb needs to get planted now. Camera player's already set. Smoke's in his way though. Hampus revealed.
Yeah, Grim, fairly low HP. AWP with a good connection towards Isaac. It might even be on for another.
Turns away from the flashbang though. A chance made available for Plopsky to close the gap. Does get a fantastic headshot on Grim, but instantly Holzerk responds. It's all Hampus now. No one's accounting for his exact positioning here inside the smoke. He'll have to wait for it to clear first. And JT now looks his direction, loses his life. Holzerk still turns up the quadra. This time he ain't missing. This time he brings it to evens.
So we've just seen in the 2 rounds of overtime, a triple kill from Plopsky out on B and a quadra kill from Holzerk out on A. I always find, Jay, when you get into overtime, things just get a little bit messy, and it's who can deliver the most impact. Who in certain situations is going to come out on top. And Holzerk, well, we haven't seen a lot of his AWP brilliance across this best of one. That round in particular shows exactly why getting the AWP out on him is going to be so key across both the first half and the second.
Lumi hugging that corner wall. JT can't punish it this time. Or at least put the HEs on to force them out of electric. Isaac. Another smoke down as the T side goes for the execution. Grim good for 2. Isaac burns him from beyond the grave. Lumi's in the back lines, needs a connection on Holzerk. He gets it, but point blank against JT, and 60 from range will get those next 2 kills. Another solid Complexity execution on this B bomb site. Adam B, a 1v3 clutch.
Grim does good work out there on B main, and it's quite easy to look at the majority of T-side defaults and say, oh, he's a bit baity because he's always outside of B, but that's just because we've seen so much mid-influence and out towards A. Finally, he gets involved by going aggressive into B, and we see the difference. Adam B tries his absolute best to isolate a few of those duels, but the 1v3 just doesn't present it, and Complexity make it 2 out of 3 gun rounds on the overtime first half. I think you've got to be fairly happy about that one.
coming away with the advantage at the turn on your T side, most certainly. We've seen how T-sided this matchup has been thus far. X Factor certainly sits with them right now, but it was a little bit missing on that first half for Complexity. Will that transition over into the second half of overtime? Cole on CT side, Metasport. For mid-control first up, Hulzerk's flashed off, blinded, backs away completely. Now opening kills in the early few seconds.
JT might think about a bit of an aggressive move out there in the canals. Campus just prodding, bursting. You've got A-Main taking fairly aggressively from Complexity, trying to get on the front foot. Metasport. It hasn't been much of a contact at all early on.
Play the swing up. Oh, Adam B caught off guard with it. Nyx. Advantage found for Complexity. 60 wants to consider leaning forward, as is JT. Utility sent down. AWP leans forward of it, though. Missed shot. JT punishes. Lumi's fallen now. Two-man advantage up for Cole. And he may be getting a little bit more out of Main. He's turned his attention towards Hampus, who's starting to lean forward. Got a player also back at Temple. Swings and sees two. Takes one. Plopsky can finally take Grim back, but JT's pulled out a USP for a headshot. And that's good enough to get the kill. Isaac caught out in the open. 15 for Complexity, match point at last.
Do you know, Nyx has earned my respect in this best of one. I was really let down by him. I thought that he was being punished quite a lot as the A anchor in the first half of regulation, that he was having a tough time, wasn't delivering impact. And he went from a guy that was getting bodied to doing the bodying. We've seen some really good X Factor from him. We've seen some nice multi-frag sequences, and he's now 20 and 15. That's a massive turnaround to be able to change that from a first half to a second half to now what could potentially be the 3-0 day on day one.
Hulzerk sees the first in this round. He takes the highlight moment.
That's a lazy clearance. No one holding A-Main there.
And Nyx might have impressed you, but Hulzerk is still top frag at 23 on his board. Getting an easy one, a layup kill there to start things off. Plopsky's trying to trade back on this B defensive. There's 3 players total, and none of them are offering up an angle of attack. Lumi does get his own back on Hulzerk, though, but Adam B is going to be the man to follow up the man. Advantage for Metasport. Advantage of the 4 versus 3 in particular, and that spreads Complexity thin onto the defensive line.
And this is why we're starting to see a little bit of movement. You get Grim, the B anchor that goes into dark, and you get potentially a mass over-rotation. Now, the A player of Nyx has been able to get aggressive. That is the indication that it's either going to be a mid play or a group B, and they're going to try and get 2 on B because of it.
Grim leans forward. Smokes get in the way. He waits. $30 seconds for the hit. There's 2 players on B, but they're concerned about backstabs or split plays. Smokes start coming over. 60 is going to have to get ahead of one of them at least. Grim, HG sent towards his opposition, is through the Molotov. He gets the kill back. 60 with a follow-up as well. Grim providing support, and they feed themselves to this choke point here in Electric. 1 versus 3 now for Lumi. Orb shot on the first, but both CTs back up knowing he's got to plant the bomb. He's got no time. The sprays are good enough for Nyx to be the closing element. 16-13. Another overtime showing from Metasport, but this time a losing effort. And that's 2 out of 3 today where they concede. Complexity 3-0 in the group.
Oh, finally Complexity getting a bit of a challenge, and it didn't look like that from a 9-3 scoreline at the turn, but it ended up being quite a competitive affair. And Complexity, it's the expected outcome. The experienced squad that play in the Tier 1 environment. They've come here to Europe. They've gone 3-0 in the group. It's been a very successful day. I think Metasport will just be kicking themselves a little bit, because while they got an opening win against Passion UA, they get slammed against Nemega, and then, yeah, you feel once it gets to OT, you've got a chance. And instead, it's been a bit of an unsuccessful day. You've only got a single win out of 3 games.
Exactly, and it's not even like we're talking about teams that we are too, I mean, look, I guess for complexity is probably the exception to the rule, but teams that we weren't too worried about for Metasport. Remember, Passion UA, we talked about how they've not been in the best of form as of late because of the nature of the roster changes they've had to deal with, and doubts about Nemega as well, because also similar situation to their own form. But for Metasport, I mean, look, you've lost two out of three matches, and that puts you in negative going into your last two. You're only going to get two more opportunities to establish yourselves in the top three. And look, the opposition that they're going to face is not exactly of the easiest caliber either. Yes, you've got Imperial coming up in round 4, but 9 Pandas after that. I don't know whether Metasport can win that match.
That will be another hotly contested match. I don't think there's a lot of favoritism towards both 9 Pandas or Metasport. And just kind of knowing and reflecting on how day one goes down, you're going to be asking a lot of questions come tomorrow, right? Because it's one loss that you shouldn't have taken that could potentially be you going 4th or even 5th in the group and not being in the running to qualify to the LAN.
Yeah, this, needless to say, obviously, for the Metasport side, they might not be too happy with how the first day went down, but the complete opposite, you could say, for Complexity. 3-0 in the group thus far, almost guaranteeing, I think they actually will guarantee that Group A will be a top 3 success. I think there's only 1 or 2 like very specific circumstances where tiebreakers might force them out if they lose their next 2 matches. But in terms of confidence, right, you can't get more confident than the 13-6 and the 13-0 to start off, as well as that, the comeback. Yes, I know it was an overtime victory in the end, but just look at how things stand for them. They are undefeated, 23 rounds of difference. Like, things are looking good for them.
Yeah, they are. I'd like to see what the meeting of Complexity and 9 Pandas is going to be, because if we're going to be realistic about the matches and the teams in the group, that's probably the match that would decide who's going to get top seed, who's going to place first in Group A. So all eyes are going to be on for these next few officials tomorrow, Jay, because you will start, especially in round robin, you always see a lot of change. From 1 win to 1 loss, that table can start fluctuating quite a bit, especially the 3rd and 4th place. Those are normally the ones that start changing quite a lot every single best of 1.
Well, 9 Pandas are the other team that are undefeated as of right now, 2-0 in their record. So, of course, Complexity beat them out, but 9 Pandas have a game in hand, and maybe that game may well go towards their favor when they take on Complexity in round number 4. Nemega currently sits in the top 3 with a 2-1 record, which, of course, sorry, a 1-1 record, I should say, rather, which, of course, is going to beat our Metasport, who played 3 matches, now negatively ranked at the moment, going to need to try and bring something back because the head-to-head tiebreaker will favor Nemega in that case. Meanwhile, Passion UA and Imperial Valkyries so far unable to get victories on their board, so they sit at 0-2 at the bottom end of Group A, and that is how Group A shapes up at the moment. Over in Group B, to keep up to date with how the B stream action went down, BetBoom in a similar position towards 9 Pandas, 2-0, undefeated in their group, the only team undefeated because Ents and Partizan are 2-1. Ents, of course, defeating Partizan pretty handily in the round 3 match on the B stream a moment ago. Nexus 1-1 in place number 4 on the on Group B, and Eklot and GTZ down 0-2, and that rounds out how your standings look after day 1, Dweck.
Yeah, the first thing that can be said is the last Compass winner was Eklot. They went on an incredible run. They surprised a lot of people. They won the entire event, got some nice cash. They've come into the qualifier to the LAN and they haven't won a game yet. So it tells you about the pedigree, right? That you go from the Swiss stages of contenders and main Swiss and playoffs in the typical circuit we have here in Compass, but then once we start playing with the big boys here in the best of 1 formats, it's oftentimes the stronger teams that always pull out ahead.
Well, look, I'll give you big boys in the case of BetBoom for the likes of Eklot, but they also lost out to Nexus in round 1.
Yeah.
So, look, I don't know if that's going to maybe potentially hinder their chances of making the LAN and making that top 3. There's several teams that I think actually might end up giving Eklot a few more spanners in the works, particularly against that Ents side in round 5 of tomorrow's proceedings. But that's all for tomorrow's proceedings and how Group B and Group A look at the moment. Tomorrow we continue at the same starting time, where on the A stream, specifically for Group A, Passion UA will take on Imperial Valkyries. A chance of Passion UA maybe to make up some points, get their first victory on the board, Blake.
Hey, you'd expect so. I mean, for Imperial, you just want them to have a fresh mindset going into day 2. This would have been a tough one. I'm sure they're going to build up a little bit of confidence taking on DMS in the best of 3 that they've got in the local divisions. So get that win there, make it a pretty clean game, and have a fresh mindset moving into day 2.
It all starts at 10 a.m. CEST, back here in the same time, same place, same everything here in Compass. Only 2 days in the closed qualifier, and it's everything to play for still. So we'll see you back here tomorrow. For the day we bid you adieu, make sure you're tuning in to see who's going to qualify for Qatar.
She said she loves you, but she can't love me.
But I love you.
play window anymore.
What's going on?
Play your role. 1xBet.
On to the next one.
YaLLa Compass 2025 season.
If anyone peeks through, they're both dead. They're both dead in the smoke. Bomb drops, popped up behind it at the edge of.
YaLLa Compass 2024 champions!
YaLLa, let's go!